This is your story, and it matters that you come alive. Live like you mean it, and like it means something to you. Your excellence insight for the day: how to disrupt a bad narrative. In the previous video, we spoke about the idea that the story you tell yourself about yourself becomes a narrative framework, a picture in your mind of who you are. That picture that you have in your mind determines many of your behaviors, and your behaviors determine your outcomes. If you're ready to take responsibility for your outcomes, then we work our way back to the narrative. Now, what if you're caught with a negative narrative? What if you're stuck in a stasis of thinking, a community of thought that is essentially downward trending? You have a negative narrative about who you are and about where you're going. How do you change that? How do you disrupt that momentum and make a positive change in life? Pick one of these 5 areas of your life. The 5 major things that we tend to worry about are our money, our working life, our relationships, our physicality and physical health, and our faith life. I'd like you to pick the one area in your life where you would like to see an improvement. If all 5 are going badly, then by all means select all 5 of them. Here's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to try to revolutionize each one. It's too hard and we tend not to get it right. Instead, I want you to do 2 things. I would like you to award yourself points in advance, and I'd like you to lower the bar to entry. I will explain both of those. Points in advance and lower the bar to entry. Let's take the physical world. Say you're trying to get in shape. You're worried about your weight, you're worried about being out of shape, and see if you can relate to this one. It's so hopeless that you don't even start. You don't try because it seems completely out of reach for you. I'm going to confess something to you. When I came out of high school, I was so thin that I used to wear baggy clothes, not as a style statement, but basically to hide myself. If I stood sideways, I looked like the beginning of a barcode, and I was deeply embarrassed about it. And I told myself all sorts of narratives that then drove who I was and who I was becoming. I would tell myself things like, "Don't worry, Doug, you are an intellectual." No, you're just scared. You've talked yourself out of an area of life that actually matters on the grounds that it is so hopeless that you don't even want to try. One day, my friend from high school did something incredible. He paired 2 psychological techniques, probably without even knowing it. He was just trying to be kind at the time. The techniques were giving you advance points and lowering the bar to entry. So here's what he did. He noticed that because I was so skinny, I had a little line of muscle here, just this one. That was about it. That was pretty much the only one going. He said, "No, Doug, you're not that bad. You've got funky forearms." And I will never forget that phrase. That was what he said to me. "You've got funky forearms. What you should do is every morning, just do a few push-ups." Now, I want you to stop and go back and examine things here. If he'd said, "Yeah, you're pretty darn thin. You look like you've just come out of a concentration camp. What you need to do is start lifting heavy weights and go to the gym for an hour and a half every day." Would never have happened. And this is the mistake that we make when things feel hopeless. We try to revolutionize and we go so far beyond our abilities, beyond our comfort zone, that we compound the sense of hopelessness. So instead of doing that, I want you to make a tiny change. I want you to award yourself some points in advance. For example, that you have a funky forearm. And it goes like this. Let's take the world of exercise as an example. I do not want you to rush out and join a gym and try to learn all the techniques and become Schwarzenegger overnight. You will frighten yourself. Okay? Instead, what I want you to do is to find something that is so easy that you can look down on it. Something like, when I get home, I'm going to take a walk around the block. That's it. I don't want you to push yourself too hard. I want you to do something that is relatively easy to do, to the point where you almost go, "This is silly, I can do more." And therein lies the psychology that we're after. So in the world of exercise, it's just a walk around the block. Then tomorrow, I want you to do another walk around the block. And when you get to the point where you go, "This is ridiculous, I can walk around the block easily," good. Do 2 laps around the block. pick a second block and walk it too. What's happening there is you have awarded yourself bonus points. You already have some momentum here. This is something that you can do with relative ease. In the world of saving money, don't try and save half your salary straight away. Don't try and save 10% of your salary straight away. I want you to try and save an amount that is so small that you go, this is silly. I could do more than that. Good, but do the small amount that seems ridiculous to you. Do it again next month. Then the month after that, when you go, this is pointless, I could do more than that. Do more than that. But not by gigantic leaps. I want you to do this in small increments. So that is awarding yourself bonus points in advance, then lowering the bar to entry. When you get up in the morning, just do a few push-ups. Well, I can do that. I can do that quite easily. In fact, after a few attempts, I discover that I can do more than that. Do a small thing today that seems so insignificant that you yourself look at it and go, this is ridiculous, I could do more. Excellent, now do more. It's the consistency over time that we are after. Folks, I've been going at this gym thing now for about 20 years, and I suppose I can't really make this point without showing you what I used to look like. Now, I'm never going to stand up on the Olympia stage, but I've come a long way from where I was. Are you ready? This is what I used to look like. What has been seen cannot be unseen. And I apologize for that, but I've come an awful long way. And these days, I like going down to the gym for an hour and a half at a time. I enjoy the weightlifting. I've developed technique over the years, but what I didn't do was scare myself right out the door. Pick that area of your life. The big five are your work, your wealth, your relationships, your physical health, your faith. Which one of those has a bad narrative that you need to disrupt? The momentum, the inertia is going in a bad direction, and you feel so hopeless. You feel it could never be changed. What if you just pray once in the evening? What if you just walk around the block? What if you save $5 this month and it seems so silly that next month you save 6 and the month after 7? Those small inputs add up massively over time. They start to multiply exponentially over time, but they have to start somewhere. Start now. Disrupt that bad narrative. Tell yourself a different story. Instead of, I can't believe I have to, start to tell yourself, I'm so excited that I get to. And find a small behavior that is so ridiculously easy that you yourself feel compelled to move to the next level. That's how you do it. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. If I can go from looking like the beginning of a barcode to having some actual mass and enjoying working out at the gym, so can you. What you see here is 20 years worth of hard work that started with a few points awarded in advance. No, don't be silly. You've got funky forearms. Every morning, just get up and do some push-ups. Well, I could do that, and it became easy. So I did the next thing, and the next, and the next. I want you to start small and multiply. I want you to disrupt a bad narrative. Instead of looking down at the gutter, I want you looking up at the stars. And I want you to understand the story you tell yourself about yourself becomes who you are.